Cue intro music. Oh, wait, I forgot to get any. Maybe in the fall we'll start having some intro music for these events. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Because we don't want Cal singing, I'm just saying. Yeah, welcome back. This is virtual studio party for August 7th with me, Kimberly Coe, and
8th.
Cal. Oh, sorry, August 8th. And Cal Honey,
hello.
who's off camera, but integral
but very
to
much
this.
Present.
That's right. And I know it's a beautiful summer day outside, at least here in the Toronto area in Canada. So I don't know how many people will actually make it indoors from their garden, but hopefully some will. And of course, there are the replay videos, which are always available for watching on this channel. So please check them out. And today is the last virtual studio party, not forever, but just before we take our extended break. And so those replay videos may be more important for the next 6 weeks. Cal and I are going to, after we tie up a few loose ends, we're going to be visiting some family, parents and a godmother, and we're going to be trying to get some rest. It's really, we're kind of overdue for a vacation. And then we have some projects we need to work on. For example, our much neglected garden and a couple of house projects. And then we also have some businessy projects so that we will have some potentially new things to offer you in the fall and in 2021. I can't believe I'm even saying that year.
Finally got your stream. So.
Oh, really? So anyway, I will just forgive me, those of you who will have heard this once before on the replay or otherwise. I'm just going to repeat a couple of things, which is that this virtual studio party is the last one before Cal and I take a break. And we will come back later in September, having gotten some rest, I hope, seen some family, close family, and worked on some projects, home projects, business projects, art projects. There's so much. 6 weeks is going to go by in a flash.
I'm actually a little terrified with all the things we have lined up that we need to do. And
yeah, if we had that team of assistants we keep talking about, but I mean, maybe we'll build out some things that mean it's possible for us to at least have one assistant. That would be really nice. I do occasionally get some for just the odd task or something. One of my lovely nieces or someone else who's an arts administrator to help out, but it's very, 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 very limited. So that needs to change. But anyway, we're hoping to build out some new things. Hello, Linda. Nice to see you here. So glad you could make it. So yeah, we hope to bring some new things on board, new offerings for you. Starting this fall and into next year. So I can't believe I'm really thinking that in that kind of detail about 2021 and maybe even 2022, but there you go. That's the way it goes, right? Life. So so glad to hear from Linda. If you're on here and you are able to participate in the live chat and inclined to.
She said hi.
Yes. No, the other people.
Ah, right.
Yeah,
yes.
So,
of course.
Please do say hi. We always like to say hi if we can, but if you also just want to be quiet and anonymous, or you don't have an account you can sign into, then we're just glad you're here. All right. Okay, I'll stop talking about all that stuff. And I have a couple of things I wanted to work on today. Yesterday was the final class in my too short, really, 4-week contemporary mixed media course. It really should have been 6 weeks. So I'm still nailing down dates for the fall, although I have subjects, and I'm going to have to think about that for sure. Anyway, stay tuned. This week it should all be worked out.
Kirk says hi, and he says Rebecca and I can't stick around today, but we wanted to say hi and have an amazing break.
Thank you so much. Thanks for saying hi. I really appreciate that.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. It's so nice.
Some of our harder core.
Yeah, especially you guys have been here like so regularly. So, and Kurt, I'm going to be doing a little stitching, not cross stitching, but stitching. So, yeah. So yeah. Yesterday was the final class, and Rebecca was in that class. Anyway, so I thought I would continue on with this from that class because I want to, I don't know, see what it turns into. And I also, last week, I started cutting out this stencil. So I'm going to continue working on that stencil, get more of it cut out. Hey, I see Mira's here.
Yeah,
hello, Mira. Excellent.
Welcome aboard, Mira.
So glad to see you. And Linda, you're just hanging awesome. I wish I could see your face, but it's really nice to know you're there. I feel you through the Ethernet waves. Yeah, you're gonna miss the stitching. I finally do it on the last day, and of course, that's the one that you have to miss. Oh well, I'm sure it'll come up again sometime. Yes. Now this is actually not. Look at this amazing needle. Isn't that something? Here, I'll hold it up against my sweater. That's a massive needle. And I believe it's for sail making, so it can pierce really sturdy canvas. And that's actually one of the things. I don't know that I'll get to this today because I may need to be able to concentrate more. But I got out an old painting, like not a resolved painting, it was actually samples of different matte mediums. So it's divided in quadrants with different matte mediums, and I just activated it first. But I thought that would make a great base for something. So I thought I would. Got this wonderful red stuff. Isn't that remarkable material? So Marg, one of my students in the class on Friday, said she got this kind of thing from the Japanese paper place, which I can readily believe. So I think I was given this by a student. And then I have this embroidery here. Oh, now I've got it in the wrong position. Just want to give you an idea what I'm thinking. But this is definitely going to be more challenging to work on, so that's why
you're up for a challenge.
I am up for a challenge, but the brain capacity can sometimes fail me. Okay. There. Now you can sort of see it. So you see I've done expressive stitching. Stitching that is drawing, expressive, free-form drawing. And I'm really enjoying doing that and plan to do a lot more of it. So in fact, why I need this is my next bit of stitching was going to be red and pierce through all the layers, including the painted canvas. So it needed to be a needle like this to work. So anyway, I'll put that aside. over there and find my correct needle. Here we are. That's good. I'm using a cheap embroidery floss. It's more like a fine embroidery yarn, really. It's kind of, that's the sort of texture it has. But hey, it'll do. It's red. And really, you can see you can probably tell I like red, so I figure anything red.
Now that you're getting hands-on, let's push this baby.
Yes, yes. Thank you, dear.
Give it a little push.
How's my auxiliary brain? Thank goodness. I need one. I challenged Kim to do embroidery with a butcher knife. Just kidding. Or am I? Oh, man.
Let me guess. Linda?
Yes, that was Linda. How did you know?
That was the view. Do you need to change the angle?
Yes, it needs to go down a little bit.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good, I think. You don't mind the top of my head being cut off a bit, do you? Mira's going to do some stitching, but first making her way out of the decollaging all around the, yeah.
Yes. All the little torn shreds, eh, Mira? I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys cook up.
So I didn't talk about this on Friday because Friday was jam-packed, a little too jam-packed. But I draw, not everybody has tailor's chalk, so I draw with some chalk pastel, and I like this kind of sky blue color or robin's egg blue color as a color to draw with. You can see the lines there. They were a little sharper when I first put them on yesterday or the day before yesterday.
Non-repro blue.
Yeah, so Linda will appreciate this as a former graphic designer as well as Cal and I are. That it's non-repro blue, so it feels natural to be working over top of it. So I'm just going to reinforce some of these lines because they're...
She says, oh, the memories.
Yes. I was thinking I miss Rubylith. Rubylith, for those who weren't graphic artists, was a kind of adhesive film. You could buy it as a tape, and it was a ruby, absolutely transparent, but ruby colored tape, or acetate that had this adhesive, transparent ruby colored film, and we would cut through the ruby layer, but not through the acetate. Anywhere it was ruby colored, the reprographic camera that we used for print production would see it as black. And non-repro blue, the camera would read as white. So so those two colors have special associations, and I used to love the sensation of cutting through the Rubylith. Yeah,
it was a bit nerve-wracking too, because you made a mistake, and then
yeah, if you made a mistake, it was hard to fix it seamlessly.
The ruby tape to
but you could, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so that's sort of like retro materials, right?
There are some artists who play with like they find old Rubylith on.
Yeah, I was thinking, I guess you could go on eBay and see if anyone's selling any. Of course, every year that goes by, I presume it gets more and more expensive.
Harder to find, and yeah,
the supply gets scarcer.
I wonder if anyone is still making it. Probably not. I can't imagine.
Oh, it'd be so sad if they weren't, though, wouldn't it?
It would.
Yeah. All right, I've reasserted my lines. Maybe not even correctly, but I'll just correct it with my stitching.
Mira says, it's comforting to work in my studio with the mantra of your voices.
Aw, that's nice.
It's lovely having you along, Mira.
Yeah, it is. I have been told that I have a soothing voice, and I always find Cal's voice Very, very soothing as well. He has a nice timbre to his voice, or timbre, as they say.
Timber.
He couldn't resist, right? That's how we know he's Cal.
Linda needed it.
Yeah.
She needed a really bad pun-based piece of quote-unquote humor.
Yeah. Well, she misses you, right?
Not, she really
don't
doesn't.
you? Don't
She,
you,
nah.
Linda? Yeah.
She's put in a very forced ha 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 ha.
Yeah. Well, Mira doesn't miss him as much because she's been in his classes. She's in the Collage Explorations one, right?
She is indeed.
Yeah.
That's why she's talking about decollage.
Aw. That's so cute. We miss you too, Linda.
Yeah, I don't know whether Linda and Mira, I don't know whether you guys have met, but they're both.
You should. Yeah, you should meet.
They're both very talented collage artists.
Yeah.
And with very different sensibilities. So
yeah.
Hopefully, at some class in the future, you'll both be in the same one, and I'll have the delight of that.
And you're both vivacious.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
And full of joie de vivre.
Yeah.
What is joie de vivre in
Spanish,
Mira?
There's got to be an equivalent given Latin culture. I mean, my God.
Yeah, there are probably 5 of them.
Yeah. So I have. What are you guys doing for exercise? Because that's now of course you can get outdoors more, but parks are crowded and all of that. So because I wasn't enjoying going to parks in our area because people were not keeping safe distances, I started doing online indoor walking workouts.
Like marching type thing.
Sort of marching. Sometimes I incorporate stepping. But so one, and I was picking some offbeat people. So one was that I was doing for a while. She's a Chinese Malaysian fitness person. So, which is a familiar culture to me because Malaysia's basically next door to Indonesia, which is where the Chinese side of my family comes from. And I have a cousin living in Malaysia, one of my Chinese cousins. And anyway, so even though she was, and I liked it a bit that she wasn't as slick as some of the kind of American ones. And she was also not blonde, and she didn't have added on bust line and all of that. I mean, if that's what you want, go for it. But it's just I find it too dominant, I guess. Anyway, so I was doing that. But aside from her, she brought kickboxing moves into it, which I enjoyed. But I found it a little bit tedious. So I found this Japanese guy who does it more dancing like. And now I'm having some fun, I have to say. I also found a Korean group. Maybe it's a company. I don't know. But there's a whole group of very buff, very attractive young Korean men leading you in all kinds of different workouts. And I don't do all of the workouts because some of them are too advanced.
Busy looking.
But they're fun anyway. So yeah. So that's been a nice way to feel motivated about keeping fit. Yeah.
Kim and I were talking about the fact that we're both sort of, she's female and I'm male, and we sort of slant more that way. We each have a fair bit of the opposite in each other, in ourselves.
Yeah.
And why is it that people don't watch more of the opposite sex for their for their workout videos, but I think we both do. So
yeah, Cal watches some unbelievably buff women, not only women, but including women. And why not? It's motivating because you enjoy watching them, you know. Well, watch whichever sex is the one
whatever
you find
works for
attractive,
you, right?
And if both, then really the world is a banquet for you.
Yeah, exactly. So Mira asked, what is joie de vivre in English? And I said, I think we normally use the French. So
yeah, we normally use the French
and
because it's so French. When the Normans invaded England and took over running it in 1000 AD, or CE for Common Era, the French got massively inserted into English.
And also it's much more a French and Latin thing than it is an English thing, sadly.
Let's be frank. WASP culture, as in white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, joie de vivre is not a predominant characteristic. When I think of Italian and Latin cultures, that's when I think about people who know how, as a group, cultures that know how to have a really good time. So that's why it's important for our health that we know you guys. So thank you. It's funny. I remember when we had our design business, we had Italian clients, and I mean, they were literally Franciscan friars. So get a load of that, right? Some of them from Padua, Italy, and some Franciscans from Toronto. And then we also there was a whole publishing firm we did a lot of work for that was largely French, Franco-Canadian. And I remember feeling among them less weird, because in WASP territory, which I'm half British descent, so those should be my homies, right? I always felt too loud. I felt like my laugh was too loud and long. I felt like I was too expressive. People talked about me flailing around with my hands and talking with my hands, and would ask me if I was Italian, if you can believe it. Anyway, so that was quite eye-opening. So that makes me wonder, do you guys feel like you feel the repression around you when you're with people who are very waspy, understating everything and only using dry humor? I don't know. Yeah.
Linda says yes in capitals. That's great.
Well, I have a feeling that's part of why we get on so well, Linda, and I know Mira too. Like, I remember Mira, and the time of COVID is terrible, but I think Mira had you been away for a while, maybe because of your knees or something. Anyway, I remember you were feeling hug deprived. So you'd come back from a trip to your homeland, and you were, I think, shocked by how unexpressive, low hug quotient people were. But I was always glad to give you a hug. The start of class, the middle of class, at the end of class. I miss hugs, I have to say. I'm stitching very slowly. It's pretty funny. And of course, I've got my thimble on the wrong finger. There we go. Oh, I should show you my thimble. It's cloisonne, a Chinese thimble. Can you see what it is? Oh, there's the bird. Okay, so there's the bird's head and the wing, the other wing, and the body. I actually bought that in, I think I bought this in Hong Kong. I bought 2 of them. Oh, I bought more because I gave gifts as well. But I love this. You got to catch me up. Clearly, there's been chat going on.
Sorry.
I'm not.
Okay, all right. So,
yeah,
my bad.
I feel left out.
Oh, sorry. I'm busy finding a couple of things for people. So,
okay.
Mira says to Linda, "Hi, Linda. Anytime. I would like to have an artist challenge together." So I'm actually just finding your respective websites and posting them for each other.
Yeah, that's good.
And Linda says that's what wine is for. I think you're removing some
removing
of the
those. Yeah, I don't need the wine. That's the funny thing. Wine is nice, but I don't even need it.
She also says me too and nice, but I think that was. I'm not sure what that was because
I think the nice was about the thimble. But.
Yes, and she says, gorgeous thimble. I just glued a thimble into one of my pieces.
Oh, did you? Was it an old thimble or a classic thimble or
no, just
decorative
just
thimble?
A symbolic one.
Oh my God. Listen to what you're bringing out in him.
Sorry, Linda. The wine comment was in reference to how to deal with waspy people. Yes, yeah, exactly. And she says classic thimble.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I inherited a lot of thimbles. I'm very, very thankful that my grandmother taught me to sew. I didn't develop it past a certain point, but so this is one from my sewing kit from her. And I don't know what this is on the back of it. Maybe if either of you know what that's there for. Is it for sticking a needle into it to store it or?
Maybe.
There's something there that slides up. Oh, wait, it slides. I don't know if that, see that middle part has slid up now? I have no idea what that is for. I'm sure there's...
Linda says maybe storage for a needle.
Maybe.
Or maybe, can it also be for poking holes in something? Like maybe you put a needle into it and then you use, rather than... then you put the needle in that and poke holes. Like, is it a cylinder or is it?
It's not a cylinder.
Okay.
It's a funny shape. Anyway, it says patented. So clearly there's some purpose for this. I guess I could look up the patent number.
And Linda and Mira, I have posted your respective websites for each other with the brackets around the word dot because I can't actually post links in the chat.
That didn't work for me. I had to use the 3 dots in place of 1 dot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
all right.
I don't think you see that link, do you guys? So Cal's going to repost your websites, and wherever there should be a single dot, he's going to have 3 dots. YouTube does not like people who are not the host.
Like I am.
And Cal is not the host, to post links because of spam, right? You know. People will put porn links in. They'll put, completely unrelated, scammy business links in. Even if they're genuine businesses, it's still spam if it's not
welcome,
relevant
right?
or welcome.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm using a really fat needlepoint needle in a fine cotton sheeting with this weird embroidery yarn thing. And I hope it isn't too structurally weakening of the cotton. But anyway, I'm an artist, not not a superb practitioner of needlecraft, so I will only concern myself with those aspects within limits.
Linda says, you are an artist and you play one on TV. That's hilarious.
Oh my God. I had a sudden flash of like Bewitched or something, only substitute in a brunette artist instead. That's too funny. Well, I did say at the outset when my stream wasn't even online yet, I think it was from my end, but not from anybody else's, which is an unfortunate feature of this. But that I think in the fall, I'm going to aim to have some theme music for this in the fall, so that during that period, some theme music can be playing.
Seems like a good idea.
Wow. The switch is on. There, I'm going to get this whole side done. That's good. I don't even know what this is. It looks a bit like an onion cut in half, and I don't know why I've done that, but it just seemed like the right shapes to interact with the stains that are on this fabric.
Linda says, "You both hilly cow." Guilty as charged.
Yeah. You're bringing out his silly bone, Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah. So do you have anything lovely blooming in your garden, Linda? And Mira. Mira, I know you're hard at work too, so, answer when and if it's convenient. Yeah, I don't think we have anything. Oh, one of our shrubs that we took completely out when we had a new fence put in is making a valiant effort to grow back. We didn't want it to grow back particularly, but it has grown back, and it has the tiniest little flowers. So they're not decorative, really. They're just like little specks. But the pollinators love them. So for that reason, I'm glad they grew back.
So Linda says, lots of perennials. Been playing with moss these days.
Oh, I love moss.
Beautiful. And Mira says, I think I will stitch my bicycle image transfers and not touch the previous transfers layers I posted.
Right. Very good. I have a very bossy watch these days. I decided I would invest in a watch that would count steps and I could record workouts on, except that I am terrible at actually turning it on when I start a workout. If I manage to do that, sometimes it's, 10 minutes into the workout. Sometimes I do it correctly, but then it's 3 hours later that I realize I haven't turned it off. So anyway, I'm not sure how well it's working for me, but I'm gradually getting better. So I figure it is training me to pay attention. And now it's telling me that I need to be exercising.
Something that Kim says of herself a lot when she's trying to train herself to follow some sort of routine is she says, I am an unruly child.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like my nature is fundamentally opposed to routine.
Any sort of schedule. Like if clocks didn't exist, you would be like,
I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember my mother saying that, She used to be able to brag that I could dress myself at age 18 months. And
that was short-lived.
Well, no, the problem was she would never tell anybody how long it took me to dress myself. And Cal will laugh now because I have my sitting on the edge of the bed mode. So I'll be putting a sock on and a stream of thought will take over. And I'll be sitting there with the sock in hand waiting to be put on while I wander off into whatever mental landscape I'm in. And yeah, he'll come in and laugh. Which will remind me that I was actually trying to put on my sock. Yeah. I think they technically call that ADD now. Oh dear. Cal's typing away furiously there.
Because Linda said maybe you can try embroidering while on a stationary bike. It's worth a stab anyway.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Linda, I know you've had knee issues with your running. Are you doing some indoor
bike
cycling or
something?
Outdoor cycling or instead? Like that's a little less harsh on the knees, I know.
Yeah.
Valerie Ashton has been out, has been out running most mornings, I think. She says I have to be out by 6:30 or I'm not getting out because it's too hot in the summer.
Right.
So, but yeah, you're back to running. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, well, that's done. So great. Yeah. So your knees are good then.
Slower and shorter. But
yeah.
Welcome to getting older.
Yeah. You just needed to adjust, right? Yeah. But that's so good that you must feel so much better.
Because it's your home and native land for working out, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like cow hopping on a bike. Look at that. I'm going to finish this off. And this whole side will be done. Just tie it off. Oh, I should have done it. I didn't realize. I didn't pay attention. This side, the stains are much stronger. That's the side I should have done it on. This side, the stains are much fainter. Sometimes. So all the good stitching is on this side, but all the good stains are on this side.
Well, sometimes the sort of degree of lack of intentionality to the back, the stitching on the back has an lovely abstract quality.
Yeah, but it's not linear enough for me.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. I like
it's a drawing on one side and a painting on the other.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the way it goes, right? In my land, anyway. All right. Where are my scissors?
And forgive me for asking this because I may have missed you speaking to it, but do you have any plan for where this embroidery is going to go?
As if. No, this is part of the Kim's crazy approach to mixed media. Right, Mira? So I make layers. And I make lots and lots of layers, different materials, different processes, cut out, drawn ons, dyed, stitched, perforated, whatever.
Do you want me to point the camera at your whiteboard? If people can see some of it.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
But just temporarily.
Yeah. There, I'll tilt it up. So there, you can see a whole bunch of layers on my whiteboard there. Looks a bit diminished on the screen because it's so small, but it's a lot to play with. Anyway, and then constructing, resequencing, playing, shuffling them like cards, you know. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is an assembled one. So this is my form of collage. Grommeted together and loose otherwise. This is kind of fun because this is an acrylic skin, and has tactile qualities. It has some translucency. Yeah, and then just painted and dyed and all of that. So I just love. Oh yeah, why not? Linda hasn't seen this, so forgive me, Mira. I'll and anyone else who's seen this. So this is an example. Let me get that little stray piece off of there. So this is how I build them up. So I've got this layer, that texture layer.
Linda says, love it.
That linear layer and that mark making layer. And then it comes together like this. So it's a different way of coming at it. Now, of course, they can all be fastened permanently in whatever way you want afterwards, or applied to permanent surfaces or whatever. But so I'm making this embroidered layer the way I'm making those other layers, and they'll just become part of something.
Become a component that you can play with.
Yeah. Because I think bringing tactile play like that, keeping things in a state of flux longer, is part of what I've noticed is valuable and interesting. Cal and I talked about how it relates to design and maybe design thinking, because on the one hand, if you have a rush project, then you have to get an idea quickly and you execute it and it's out the door. But longer projects, you have to think in terms of keeping it in a state of flux more maybe than you want to, because you've got clients and you've got production considerations and cost considerations, and all these things keep forcing you to change or requiring you to change what's going on.
Linda says, I'm working on a similar project using transparent layers. Didn't know how to fasten it, but now thinking about stitching it together along the top.
Yeah. I mean,
stitching, grommeting is something that's pretty cool too, if you want a more sort of technical kind of look.
But simple machine stitching across the top is a beautiful way to put layers together. So that's why in the fall I'm going to offer a kind of a continuation of the contemporary mixed media, incorporating textiles and textile processes, not to the exclusion of other things, just to put a little more focus on it, because it's so rich with possibilities, including something as simple as that.
Yeah, Linda says, like the idea of leaving the bottoms loose so layers can be lifted and explored. Absolutely. And I was just thinking, there are so many interesting bookbinding methods that you could do. Some, like some sort of stitching bookbinding. Like, what are those perpendicular stitches? Is that Japanese?
Yeah, the Japanese stitch
might look really nice across the top. And then it's just like a book hanging, and because the layers are transparent, you can interact with them. That's cool.
Yeah. And who doesn't love a nice book form anyway, right? Or is that just me?
No, that's not just you.
No. Okay. I need a new lot of
Me too,
floss here. Good.
Yeah. be hard pressed to be a
know
designer
our
of our era, and
Yeah.
not like
Print designer.
Print design, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've been shredding our old financial stuff from like, I'm way behind, but I was looking at some stuff from like the early 2000s, and like all the inserts that came in bills that were graphic designed, and now that there's so little that's actually printed, and it was like, oh right, I remember when there was print design coming into the house, you know.
Print is special now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas it used to be ubiquitous. I love print. So, you know, it's just as well that I switched over to art when I did, because as an artist, I'm free to explore print as much as I want. All right. Maybe I'll switch activities in the interests of my, as I mentioned last week, I've got some hand, wrist, forearm issues. It's beneficial for me to change activities regularly, but I was going to show you this. So I've punched this, so this piece of Duralar, like Mylar, so that I can stitch with it. I'm liking this idea. Like, I can imagine making a whole, I don't know, tapestry-like thing. Tapestry, I'm using that term loosely. Covered in like these fish scale flaps or something with stitching. I don't know. Germ of an idea, right? Just in this one thing. There.
Linda being Linda, she might love to see your the big punch that you did that with. Do you have that? Is that within reach?
Oh, the crocodile.
Okay, that's what I was going to call it that, and then I thought, oh, that. Yeah, the crocodile.
It's tucked away in that thing with elastic and stuff.
Right,
so
never mind.
Maybe later. Maybe I'll get cutting. So this is what I was cutting last week. I'm making a custom stencil, so I've got lots of lines drawn on it loosely as guidelines. That
Linda says, I think of the holes that you had. She said, put some lights behind it and they will shine through the holes. I created some night lights using that idea.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I love that idea.
That's like those old-fashioned, these would be new-fashioned, but the old-fashioned tins, pierced tin lanterns. Put a candle inside and just use a nail and a hammer to pierce the tin with. Okay, I've got to figure out, pick up this cutting.
This thread.
It you know, I have the lines down there, but I also improvise as I go along, as one does. Correct at every stage, right?
That's the way you are.
Or improve at every stage. That's probably a better way to put
Refine.
it. Refine at every stage. Yeah.
Even if the refining is meaning to make it a little raw.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Way back before COVID, I was thinking this spring, summer, I would be
Annie has just joined us.
going to a pool. Hi, Annie.
Hey, Annie. Welcome aboard. Yeah, better late than never. Absolutely. Yeah.
We're delighted to see you. So, I don't know if you've brought anything to play with, Annie, or if you're just coming to hang out. I got more of my stitching done. And I, since you saw this yesterday, I discovered that the good side of my stains was on this side. But of course, I've done the kind of stitching I want to do on this side. And so, welcome to my life. I know I'm not alone in things like that happening, but It definitely feels like a very familiar feeling. So anyway, I'm just putting that, I'm pausing, and I'm cutting out more of my stencil that you saw me cutting out last week, because I'm really looking forward to having this to use. I think I even had the germ of an idea when I did it that I have forgotten and probably not written down. So I'll just have to rediscover it at some point or come up with a new idea.
Annie says, looks good. And Stella Dunn says, hi, everybody. I'm here too.
Hi, Stella.
Hey, Stella. Welcome aboard.
I'm so glad you could make it. So I've done some stitching and I'm now doing some cutting, getting more of the stencil done. And how are you guys doing? Were you out in the beautiful day? I mean, I don't know what it's like where you are, Stella. It's typically beautiful as long as you don't mind heat where you are, but
Stella says, I missed you last week. I had to work.
oh, well, it's good to work, but it's too
Yeah.
bad that it conflicted with the party. But I'm glad you're able to make this one, because this is our final party for the summer. We'll be back in later September, and
You start again on the 19th.
yes, and Cal and I are going to alternate. Cal has been doing his virtual collage jams on Mondays, and he's going to switch to Saturdays so that we can get a little more control over our week. So we'll alternate. It'll still be both of us, but alternate Saturdays. It'll be either me or him on the camera. And when it's Collage Jam, starting the 26th, I guess.
Yeah, the week
Yeah,
after.
so September 26th will be the first Collage Jam back. Yeah. And
So there'll always be one or the other of us at the same time.
yeah. And we're working out,
Saturday.
like, you know, one way or another, if you come to one of our channels and it's the wrong week, we'll have something up that tells you where we are. Okay.
Yeah.
So whether we come up with a joint channel and just run them all from the joint channel, or we just alternate between our channels. And there are some good reasons for us to do that, but we want to make it as easy as possible for people to come, because we like a virtual party.
Yeah.
So
Stella says, love it.
oh, good.
And I asked you in the chat, Annie, but yep, she just answered. I asked her if she was going to do another batch of monarchs or not. So for those of you who don't know Annie, she's been hatching or chrysalicizing monarchs,
Raising caterpillars into butterflies.
Yeah, so she's got a little.
It's so magical.
Yeah, one of my classes we were taking last week, she said, Cal, could I interrupt for a minute? I like, yeah. And then she took her camera over to show us a monarch who had just come out of its chrysalis, her chrysalis. It was amazing. So Annie says, there are more eggs to collect, but my husband doesn't want to have the critters inside.
Oh, really?
So I think this is it for me for this summer.
Aww.
One male is ready to be released, leaving one more chrysalis.
Oh, that's nice, though. I remember many years ago, Cal and I used to live in the Beaches neighborhood of Toronto. And we lived, 7 houses from the beach, which is on Lake Ontario, of course, but to make sure Stella knows, and anyone who watches later who's not from around here. So, one of the Great Lakes. So it was a fantastic location and a beautiful neighborhood with huge oak trees and houses typically from the turn of the 20th century. And I remember one year in particular, I guess it was a real bumper crop of monarch butterflies that year. And of course, they cross the Great Lakes, and they were congregating at the beach, and there were just so many of them everywhere. And I think it was was either late August or September that they were congregating.
It is jaw-dropping to think that something like that flies to Mexico.
To Mexico.
Like,
It's astounding. And different generations of the butterflies, I think, have different lifespans. Like the ones that do the long flight have a longer lifespan.
oh yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
something, there's just magical stuff around them, isn't there? Maybe Annie knows more about it.
I seem to recall something about that, like that there every so often there's like an Uber crop, or either that or it's like a certain percentage of the ones that are born are longer lived or something.
Superhero monarchs.
Yeah.
What's my superpower? Getting distracted. Connection? Well, that would be a nice superpower.
Yeah. Annie says, yes, the super monarchs hatching now to September will fly to Mexico.
Right. Thank you for confirming that. I had some vague recollection of something like that. So
monarchs among monarchs.
Yeah, really. True enough. Gosh. They're right about middle-aged eyes, aren't they? It's harder
and you're only
to see.
Noticing that now? Boy, I had a project that involved a fair bit of detail drawing a couple of years ago. Well, actually 4 years ago now.
The Toronto Life one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I noticed I could only draw for a little while, and then I'd have like a blurry gray spot in the center of my vision until...
That's alarming.
And so I had to like...
Get to stop.
And now I notice anytime I do any like intense looking, I have that.
Did you have that checked out?
I did. I went and I described it, and of course it was one of those less than ideal bedside manner type people. But he said, your eyes are fine. Like the prescription covers it. I mentioned what he said, and he did check my eyes, and he said, you're fine.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you checked them.
Yeah.
Because you're only a visual artist and designer. Like it's not like it matters at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I've noticed that sometimes health professionals don't realize that if you have some part of you that's highly trained, you know way more about how it should function than they do. Not in medical terms or biological terms, but in functional terms. And so when you're specifying something is wrong, there's no ambiguity about it. You know something is wrong. Like if a musician's ears are going, they're gonna notice it more than other people, right? Or their fingers are going. A pianist's fingers, a cellist's fingers, an artist's fingers. But it's funny how inclined many medical professionals can be to dismiss concerns that are vital to people who have invested years of their lives in training those things, those functions.
So Annie asks, where are you two camping?
Yeah.
And I have answered partially in the chat, but we don't know yet for sure. We have camped at a park near North Bay called Restoule, and it's pretty, although it's not spectacular, but I think that's often why
a saving grace.
We've managed to find spots there when and so really we're looking for somewhere where we can just chill.
Yeah.
And a little bit of nice scenery is good, but
we'd prefer to go to Puckasaw National Park on Lake Superior, but it's going to take us 2 days to drive there. We cannot, and that for us, that'll be a lot of driving. And so we can only really justify that if we're going to stay long enough to not make that an exhausting
a marathon drive.
yeah,
right?
marathon drive for a short reward. So
And I'm like, my driving is atrophied. Like
Oh.
I used to drive
constantly.
probably 6 or 7 days a week, and a lot of
different
driving,
places.
like teaching and so on.
Yeah.
And now I drive like a couple
the
of times a
grocery
week
store.
to the grocery store. Like it's a big deal if I'm on a highway, whereas I
Yeah.
used to be on the highway like 6 days a week. So Annie says, speaking back to your thing earlier about sensitivity, she said, my car used to be an extension of me. I knew every little sound or feel, but not anymore. Too old. Haha. Did you ever do any car racing then? Like, that sounds to me like someone who really enjoys tuning into the feedback, and so I can imagine that you might have enjoyed some more spirited driving.
Yeah. I remember there was a time years ago when Cal suggested I should try rally driving. Can you explain rally driving? Because I can't, my brain won't muster that.
I don't even know why I was suggesting that. Maybe because of your enjoyment of
because of the way
road
you
trip.
said that I always judged the acceleration and deceleration for corners really well.
Okay, right.
That
So
kind of thing.
So rally driving is basically, it's a racing kind of driving, but it's point to point, and it involves navigation and
so there are usually two people in the vehicle, right?
Yeah,
the
one
navigator and the
navigates,
driver.
and
Yeah.
at the higher levels, the navigator is saying, sharp right and 400 yards, and
Yeah.
and blind corner kind of left coming up. And they have a shorthand.
Yeah.
So I've watched some videos of it, and I'm like, I don't know what they're saying, or I can only understand every 10th word. But yeah, it's more popular in Europe, I think. But
that's fun.
Yeah. And he says, haha, I hate to drive, but I can detect if something was wrong with my car.
Right.
Sensitivity.
And sensitivity is an artist's superpower.
Yes, that's true, actually.
Yeah. It's really key. Awareness, noticing, sensitivity to visual effects, tools and materials, to ideas, even to interactions, to the world, essentially. Yeah. Well, I took a little unexpected modification here. Not sure how I
have often found with the Collage Jam, or whenever I'm talking and my hands sometimes do some things that I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah, it's like part of my brain was thinking about this and thought an interesting thought that the other part of my brain's going, Yeah, so this is the little bit that just happened. It was unexpected, but that's good.
And will this be a layer or a stencil or?
Stencil. I'm cutting a stencil. I
wow,
wanted
that's a surprising degree of
confidence
and assuredness.
Well, I wanted to have a whole page that had this kind of flowing effect. And, whether I'm stencil painting or monoprinting using a stencil. And yeah, so I'm making it for myself. And one of the things I love about these virtual studio parties is, even though I am babbling away, I get some stuff done, So, and it means that I'm touching on projects every week. And if I have a busy week, this might be my only opportunity.
Something that we talk about with students, but it's equally true of these events, is the fact that it's really beneficial. One of the benefits of taking a class is that you have an appointment with your artist every week, right? So you may have your life may be crazy or whatever, but if you show up for the class, you've got at least this one little time when the thing you're supposed to be doing is making art, right?
It's true.
Or connecting
It's true.
to your art. And so that was one of the things we thought we could provide with our studio, our YouTube studio events, right? Is that sort of
that energy
appointment. And even that's the wrong word, because it's kinder, gentler,
a gathering
warmer
place and time.
Yeah, exactly.
Virtual gathering place and actual gathering time. Yeah.
Annie has a question.
Ask away.
Does my acrylic medium layer need to be sealed? Will it always be a bit sticky?
That's an excellent question. So, it probably will always be a little bit sticky. And so, yes, you can seal it. One of the things I've used is some matte medium, which has less stickiness. And you can also decide that if you decide to collage it onto something using medium, then obviously that one side you won't have to worry about at all.
In fact, the stickiness will be useful.
It'll help you position it. But you're going to coat it in medium. So ultimately you can varnish the skin. Varnish is like acrylic varnish is like acrylic medium, but it's harder. And because it's harder, it's not sticky. So it's the flexibility that I'm not a chemist, so I don't know what the physical relationship is, but acrylic remains flexible in perpetuity, basically. And the kind of acrylic that the paint and medium is. And that goes along with the stickiness. But the matte medium is less sticky because it has particles in it that make it matte and give it that gently frosted look. But if you don't want the frosted look, then you use Liquitex matte medium, which is the least frosted of the matte mediums. If you want it super frosted, someone's is it Golden or Liquitex has ultra matte medium, and so it's super, super, super matte. If you mix it with paint, it will make it really, really matte. But it's also virtually opaque. Light passes through it, but you don't see anything else through it, right? So I hope that answers your question adequately. It's, there might be better specific answers depending on how you use the skin. So when you store it, you can store it in a page protector.
Annie says, thank you.
Or separate it with, one of these nice glossy but flexible, not the rigid ones. Or a Ziploc bag, or you can use palette paper, separate skins. So there are lots of ways you can store, or you can use wax paper. I shy away from wax paper because I don't like getting wax residue at all on them. But there are lots of ways you can keep them in a binder or keep them in a box until you're ready to use them.
You know what else is really good, although it's harder to find?
What's that?
Is if, for instance, you have some sort of a sticker product like vinyl, and you have
or
the sticker,
Avery labels,
right? The sticker backer,
the sticker backer
really
is perfect.
Like nothing sticks to that, right?
Yeah.
So it's really good for interleaving.
Yeah.
Annie says, if I hang the piece up, it will collect dust. Yes, it will.
Yeah. It definitely can collect dust, so you could hang it in with some plastic over top of it, or for example, you can get a Ziploc bag or one of these, and then just cut it open at a seam, and then it's bigger. If you need it bigger, then the thing you're working with. And if you're hanging it, you can just clip it with that plastic over top of it, and that will protect it from almost everything. As you can see, I like clipping things personally. I'm very fond of clipping things up.
Super, thanks, she says.
Oh, good. Now, lately, I've been, getting in there with my hands and moving them around and stuff, so they're not inclined to collect dust at this point. But when I'm focusing on other things, they'll just be there being displayed or whatever, and then I'll have to think about that. Or I could just hang my ostrich feather duster next to them and have them dust them with it while I have my cocoa in the mornings. I've done a kind of a wonky cut there.
Can you do something else to sort of smooth that out a little bit?
I think I'll just
embrace it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's not a disaster or anything. It's just kind of like, oh,
yeah.
Why did I do that?
As you would tell your students, it's a handmade thing.
It is a handmade thing.
It's gonna look like it was.
Embrace it.
Exactly.
Right.
And Stella, I asked you in the chat, but are you working on anything today or just hanging out? Are you playing with something fun?
So the contemporary mixed media course that ended yesterday, I set up a Facebook group for it. For those of you who don't know this, and I took a look at it on Thursday and Friday after class too, and it's so inspiring to see what all the students, including Mira and Annie, have been up to there. Just wonderful, wonderful stuff.
So Stella says, yes, I'm making lots of tiny watercolors. Not sure what they will become yet. And miniatures are just so great, and you don't need to know what they're going to become. It'll become clearer more as you work along, right? Just personally,
I love being in that place where I don't know what something is yet.
Because it has so much potential and it could go any which way, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes like trying to expect it to conform to some plan sucks the life out of it.
Yeah, it's so limiting.
Yeah. So just make and figure that stuff out later.
I bet she's getting lots of pleasure out of that.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. So I might get the whole one side done. That would be really nice if I got that done today. Then I'll have one side of my sliced onion, and as I'm calling it now, the embroidery, and one side of this done. It is nice having the change in activity, I must say. Switching from the embroidery to the cutting uses my muscles differently, even though they're both working with my hands in a detailed way. So, I don't know, is anyone else doing this? Since we're not going to be flying for I don't know how long to come. So travels, other than road trips, travel is definitely being deferred for some time, which is good. It'll let us save up money, actually. But I've always liked watching travel videos, but now I watch them as a form of therapy. so that it's a substitute for the travel that I can't do at all. And does anyone else do that?
You do a fair bit of vicarious travel at the best of times,
Yeah, but
even
now
more now.
Well,
yeah.
now it's more like it. Then I'd watch it and enjoy it, and sort of think, ooh, yeah, okay. So it would sort of help me think about what my next destination might be. And it's not that it can't function like that still, but since everything's so uncertain, it feels a little too theoretical. So mostly it's a form of therapy. Travel therapy. That sounds good. Can I get a prescription for that, please, when COVID is looked after? Whoops. Oh, well.
I'm close to the edge there, Miss Kim.
I am.
Yeah.
Well, I have the straight lines drawn for the border around the stencil, and I sort of cut it at a curve there, so I just straighten it out a little bit. Maybe I could turn these into earrings or something. What do you think? That could be.
Yeah.
I like that. What do you think, Mira? I like that a lot.
It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it'd be asymmetrical, of course. Yeah, that's not bad. There.
Mira says, love it.
Yeah.
And Annie says, I have my Canadian Geographic to travel away for a while.
That's great. Yeah. What a good...
That they used to be a client of ours back.
Yeah, they were a client
many moons ago.
Yeah, and I've bought it as gift subscriptions in the past. It's a lovely magazine. I was so thrilled working in the magazine industry because I loved magazines. I still do, but there's so many fewer of them now than there used to be, and my budget for magazine purchasing went down a lot once we closed our design studio. But we used to go on regular good magazine rack raids, and I'd buy, European decor magazines and tech magazines and art magazines and financial magazines and science magazines, woodworking magazines. Oh man, I love woodworking. Especially armchair woodworking.
Yeah, because most of our design career was during a time when internet was not as predominant, right?
Yeah, it wasn't robust. It wasn't populated by what it's populated by.
Exactly. So at that point, the way to learn and indulge your passions was through print. So yeah, we'd go to...
When we lived downtown, of course, there were a number of magazine stands that were incredible.
Yeah.
And then when we moved out to the burbs, we went to is it Chapters or Indigo in Oakville that we went to?
Chapters, I think. Well, they became
they joined. Yeah. That's true.
So Stella has something that's very cool that she's asking us about.
Okay.
Have you heard of Window Swap? It's a website you go to and see other people's windows all over the world. I love it. I go there every morning to see the world.
No.
That's amazing. That sounds great.
I'm totally checking that out, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, when we get off this call, or this webcast, we'll check it out.
And so people post photographs. It's interesting. I did an event, Stella, that was all over North America in June called the National Arts Drive.
Yeah.
It was designed so that people could go out for a drive or a walk if your neighborhood was like that, and see art displayed, and still at a social distance.
And if they wanted to, they could stop and talk to the artist at a safe distance, wearing a mask, whatever.
And I know some artists are put like their display is in their apartment window. It was for that, but also some people have like the art displays in their window that they change. I've seen a few artists doing that.
Well, there's a good idea.
And
maybe
so
we should do
that's
that.
a great way to, like, that would be a great venue to put something in your window and post it, and then change it the next week and post it again.
If we were to level our shrubs in front of the living room window, we got, how many, is it 3 big panes?
Yeah.
We could put art in our windows.
Totally.
I could put some of my layered stuff. People wouldn't necessarily understand what I'd put in the window, but that's all right. They don't have to understand, right?
Stella likes that. She says, amazing idea. And Linda says, a friend of mine shot a series of photographs of people seen through their windows during the pandemic.
Ooh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, I had an artist, now I'm blanking on her name, unfortunately, but she did a really interesting piece during the early days of pandemic, but which was basically a view of like several apartments, and the people in the apartments, what they're doing, looking around, and it was all silhouette, right? There was sort of like,
oh, interesting,
an amber colored light, and then black for everything else, like black for the figures and black for the railings and black for the building. So interesting. And it was kind of eerie, and also very really spoke to the experience of like everyone's in their little box. Yeah, you know. Yeah, it was really powerful.
Well, I'm changing my mind from what the lines are showing. So here's hoping this turns out.
You're going off-piste.
Off-piste, as you would say.
Yeah.
And what does off-piste actually mean, dear?
Piste, I think, is like the track or the
going off.
It's a skiing term. Right. So if you're going off-piste, you're
going off the trail,
or off the they have the runs.
Yeah.
Groomed runs, and then if you go off in the woods or whatever.
I remember when I was in high school, I went to a school where vast majority of the students were more affluent than my family was. And so a lot of them were skiing every single weekend, all winter long. And then they'd go, fly somewhere with actual mountains during school breaks and stuff. And I remember some of them swapping stories about being in BC and going off-piste as teenagers. I'm sure their parents didn't know this was happening, and
they were going off-piste, and their parents would be pissed off.
Yeah, and I don't know, black diamond runs and things that were like, well, you're a risk taker when you're young, right? So exactly. They were busy doing what young people do. So
definition is away from prepared ski runs.
Away from prepared.
And then the other thing is so as to deviate from what is conventional, usual, or expected. And that is...
I should have a t-shirt.
That's how you live.
Yeah. It can lead to some unexpected things. And believe me, as unexpected to me as to anyone else. But...
Annie says... Yeah. Andrew Knapp, a Canadian, took pictures of people with their dog on the front porch during COVID. He has books with Find Momo, his border collie.
Oh wow!
And you would have the canine and the artistic Venn diagrams well covered, Annie, with your because you're a dog owner, right? So. Yes, I see Find Momo there. That's fun.
Cal's looking that up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And checking it out. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing here.
What are you doing?
What else is new? I've got to make sense of this one section here. Okay. I'm going to. I'm determined.
And Stella says, I love dogs. Well,
that sounds like a nice series to check out then.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Linda says, don't think too much, Kim. Let it flow.
Let it flow. It's good to have you here coaching me, Linda.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to puzzle my way through it visually, like what even makes sense. Okay, now I've definitely done something weird, so I'm gonna have to create a solution that resolves it, because I've done something that isn't quite flow here, right? This thing. So the shapes above and below are definitely flow, but it's interesting what's happened there. So I'll dream up a shape that will make it work. All part of the fun. All part of the fun. Improvisation it's a good muscle to exercise. There's an improvisation troupe that does classes in comedy, improv, and so on that I have been wanting to hook up with, and participate in their classes and drop-ins. And I've never been able to make one of them. One of them was yesterday evening, and honestly, I couldn't form a coherent sentence last night. So improv, high demand, speaking sport would have been a very bad idea. But I hope to join up with them. It's called Asian Exploitation. And I think that one of the founders of the group is an alumnus of the high school I went to, although substantially younger than me. And that's how I found out about them. So I'm hoping maybe during the break I'll actually be able to connect up and do something, because I find the idea of improv comedy stuff really scary, but also I'm weirdly attracted to it. So we'll see. And now, of course, like they obviously did it live in person before, and now they've figured out a way to do it on Zoom. So I'm thrilled. Okay, I know what I'm doing now. This one has a nice bulbous shape. Oh, you know what this takes me back to? Interesting. Origins, right? Our creative origins. So when I was growing up, I was fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of art books and art reproductions in our home. And it exposed me to a lot of things, because my mother's interests covered basically all of Asia, southeast, some Central Asia. She had some European, and then some, specific things. And one of the things she had specific books on was Art Nouveau, and also lots of Japanese block prints, books about them, some examples. And I'm looking at this, and this is very tied into both Art Nouveau and
traditional Japanese block printing from like the 19th century, 18th century.
And he said a little earlier, looks like flames.
Yeah. It does have that quality, doesn't it? So vertically, it's like flames, and horizontally, it's kind of like water or wind or something. Eh?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's kind of fun. Maybe this is the new jewelry, mask jewelry. See, I could have a mask on the bottom
actually
part.
Looks pretty great.
And then have this fretwork
have like
at the
a
top.
veil on the top and a mask on the bottom.
Yeah. What do you think, guys?
Yep.
It could start a whole new trend.
Now I'll just give you a heads up that it's 3:30.
Is it really? Oh. Well, I'm going to go a few minutes longer because this is the last one for the summer, and I hate saying goodbye. So I'm so enjoying this, our little group, but it's such a warm place to be.
Cozying up by the fire/water.
Yeah, fire/water. That's right. No, I see. I completely ignored a line I had there. Oh well, that's fine.
Stella and Annie, why don't you tell us what kind of dogs you each have?
Yeah, I'd love to know.
And anyone else who's...
Anyone else have a dog?
Mira, do you have a dog? I can't remember now.
She had a dog.
Okay.
Am I right in remembering your little dog passed away? I seem to recall that.
I can't remember whether Linda has a dog or not.
I can't remember that either. Isn't that terrible?
Mira says, I wish you both a nice vacation. Enjoy the simple things of life. Bye, all.
Thank you. Bye, Mira.
Yeah, nice
Thanks
to
for
have
coming.
you along, Mira. And I'll see you at least on Thursday.
Yeah.
With our last collage class. And Annie says, crazy energetic border collie /lab mix. He's 6.
6. Prime of his life.
Yep, exactly.
Border collies are very high energy because they're working dogs.
Yeah. Labs can be high energy, but not super high energy.
They can also be more mellow than some.
Yeah, collies. Collies are definitely
collies
caffeinated.
Are really caffeinated. I like that. Collies, the caffeinated breed.
Stella says, I have a Shih Tzu. Little fluffy boo.
Oh, how cute.
I never know what the polite way to pronounce that is.
I think that's the right way. I mean, it in Chinese, it depends on the dialect, right? So when I look at that spelling, I learned this much Mandarin in university, and so I would pronounce it, and I don't have an intonation, so I'm missing half of the language, but be Shurdza. Shurdza.
Are you Shurdza?
He just can't help himself.
On the plus side, we're almost done.
Yeah.
Your exposure is
it's a limited time opportunity.
Exactly. That's a good thing. And he says, born on February 14th, and he has a white heart on his head.
Oh, how adorable.
And he's black otherwise, right? So yeah, that's
wow. That's really amazing.
Linda says, I grew up with dogs, cats, birds, turtles, fish, gerbils.
Wow.
Haven't had a pet for a few years now since my cat Mowgli died.
Oh.
I have been pet sitting for friends every chance I get. Yeah. That's good.
That's really good.
You get a chance to get a little secondhand and
then you can
helpful.
drop them off.
Yeah, there's that too, right? So
it's like being an auntie, I find.
Yeah, that's right.
I wind them up and give them too much sugar and chocolate and get them to run around and then drop them at their parents' house. Yeah. As long as I've got a decent amount of energy, I can definitely wind them up. Get them really excited about stuff. So I guess that ability has its good side, like in a classroom or at a talk. And it's bad side from a parent's point of view. Yeah. Well, okay. I am feeling quite pleased with how much I've got done. So now it's like 2/3 done. So
Annie says, thank you for making COVID pleasant as possible. Have a great holiday, XO. Oh, well, thank you, Annie, for
and
coming
likewise.
out for so much. It's been lovely having you in our several classes now,
Yeah.
right? Our
And
band
these events.
and our courses and the events. So yeah, it's been really lovely. So
Thanks
thank
for
you.
bringing your lovely energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sharing monarch stuff and dog stuff and art stuff. So yeah.
So have a great rest of your summer.
Yeah.
And
we'll be back.
Yeah, you'll see me in your inbox in a few days and so on, but take care.
Yeah, and Annie says, all my pleasure. And Stella says, thank you so much. It means so much. Stella,
thank you,
likewise,
Stella.
it's really lovely having someone from the left coast.
Yeah. But you bring lovely energy with you too,
Yeah.
Stella, and we really appreciate that. It's a pleasure spending time with you here. And so, Linda, how did you enjoy? I think this is the first time you've been able to come to a virtual studio party, right? I hope you enjoyed it.
Linda says, I've been storing up a lot of hugs for you to enjoy your time away. And Annie says, just those videos will keep me from Kim and Cal withdrawal.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
There are lots of videos, so that's really good. So if you need to make a creative appointment, or you just you're feeling a little anxious, just need some
a little
calm,
friendly art chat. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I will miss this, but I'm really looking forward to coming back refreshed and renewed in September and bringing to it whatever new things, and there are bound to be some new things coming up. Yeah. Looks like Linda's
says,
dancing.
This is my second party.
Right,
Love
right.
It.
You did come.
You always inspire lots of ideas. Going to my studio now to play.
Fantastic.
Yay, that's perfect.
I feel like my job is done.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks so much for coming. And thank you, everyone who also the silent attendees and people who are watching this on replay. Really appreciate you being here. And I look forward to coming back with you in the fall.
September 19th.
September 19th. That's right.
Mark your calendars and we'll see you then.
Okay. Bye-bye.